Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to Nerd Fight!
Step into the ring, it's time to brawl. Nerd fights, baby, we're geeking for all. Marvel, DC, Trek, and more.
Fire.
Pop culture battles, settle the score. Nerd fights, let's get loud. Nerd fights, yeah, for the geeky crowd. Nerd fights, hey, it's time to throw down. Bring your fandom, it's the hottest showdown. Who's got the takes? Who's got the heat? Mr. Know-It-All and Salty can't be beat.
That means only one thing. It's time to fight.
Beat drops out with a final shot.
Nerd Fights.
Let's fight!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Nerd Fights. I am, of course, your host, Mr. Know-It-All, and joining me, as always, is the captain of this ship, SaltyTrekker. Sir, how are you?
Life sucks, and then you die.
Okay. Good times. No, it's good. What's going on, brother? How's your week been?
I told you a little bit about it. I mean, besides the stuff that all the drama that everybody already knows about me. Why is my
Thomas
bald? Yeah, I know.
The man has a fully coiffed head of hair. Does he actually wear a wig? Yes, it's actually one of those powdered wigs.
Yeah. That's what I thought. My hair actually does look like one of those powdered wigs. So,
it totally looks like a powdered wig.
But anyway, so besides all the regular drama that I've been dealing with the neurostimulator in my back and trying to get the MRA done and all this stupid healthcare stuff, does he actually wear a wig in the intro? The intro, that's not me. I don't know who that guy is.
Totally is. No, it's
totally not me. Somebody keeps promising he's going to fix it, and somebody lies over and over.
Do you need a moment of silence, sir? Do you need a moment of silence?
We're not talking about that crap here. This is
okay.
not.
All right. I mean, it's entertainment, technically. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I'm good. I'm totally fine with it.
I mean, now that Trump was like going after all the late night talk shows now.
He hasn't gone after any. Don't be
Have you not read his Truth Social posts?
Dude, I've been reading everything. And everything's a work. And you guys are crazy. But whatever. Did you find the remote control for your back?
I'm still working on that. But
you should get one of those little. You should get the little Apple Watch things.
Yeah,
I'll tell you where to keep it on.
Yeah, it'll be one of those tracking things. You mean?
Yeah, totally. The little track. Yeah.
Samsung has them too. By the way,
I couldn't even tell you what my wife has it on her phone. The app for me because I have to have one of those tags on my keys in my wallet. Oh yeah, it's bad. Oh yeah, no, I have definitely.
I'm getting to the point where I'm gonna have to start doing something like that, because I'm forgetting stuff. But anyway, so the wife's dog, the little tiny Pomeranian you guys have seen once or twice on the live streams.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The unfortunately, well, the Pomeranian, she loves to lick people. She's very friendly and all that. And so she was sitting with my daughter and licking her face and stuff. And then, now, if you've never seen my daughter, she like re-dyes and recolors her hair like weekly. And if you don't know anything about hair, that will damage the crap out of your hair over time. So,
Trek reviewer, you guys have it easy. No Strange New Worlds to talk about.
But we have to talk about Strange New Worlds because
we're also going to talk about some other stuff. We're going to talk about Scouts again.
Yes.
Oh, trust me, I'm ready for the Scouts discussion. Yes. That's great.
So anyway, so the dog's looking at my daughter's face. Turns out my daughter, because of the damage to her hair, uses Rogaine. And so the dog licked some of the Rogaine on her head and got sick. And Rogaine is extremely toxic to dogs.
What are you doing with the what?
What?
First off, why is the dog licking people's hair? That's my thing. I'd be like, what is this weird licking?
It's a weird dog. I don't get that. Yeah.
So anyway, all right. So today we're going to be talking about two shows, by the way. We're going to talk about either Alien Earth or Peacemaker. So feel free. Also, it's open mic. In terms of
we got to talk about Star Trek. We didn't do it last week.
Oh, we are going to talk about Star. What? Talk about the
season finale and the season as a whole. And
yes, we definitely get to talk about it. That's where we say that toward the end because that's going to take the longest. So let's just knock out these first two quick.
Yeah,
I know you didn't even see Peacemaker, did you?
I saw as much of it as I wanted to.
Well, this week in Peacemaker, we got to see the holiness that was Eagly, the Prime Eagle. It was unreal.
So
Literally,
so it's like an eagle from Earth Zero or something.
oh my god, whatever! It's amazing. It summoned other eagles to its situation. It was just unreal, and everybody makes fun of what's his name, Rooker, who's playing Red Mick whatever wing. Um, Salty will need a defibrillator when it comes time for Starfleet Academy. Definitely he's going to need to find the remote by then for sure. And so he has this gun, and everyone's like, "It's cartoonish, it's stupid," thinking James Gunn just made up a long Elmer Fudd looking gun, not realizing, because if you listen to the podcast, it's actually a duck hunting gun. So it's like 6 feet long barrel, but a large tube because you put multiple 12 gauge Scotch shells in there, and it's supposed to be like for shoot. James Gunn said it's the equivalent of throwing dynamite in the water to get fish. It's just a horribly terrible way of doing
Right,
it.
it just sprays pellets everywhere.
Everywhere. And so it's one of those things where it's like, oh, okay. So it's a real thing, which I thought was funny. But anyway, so yeah, then it's just unreal. And they remember the symbol he drew in the sand? They 100% show it glowing behind Eagly. So Eagly is whatever this thing is, eyes glowing, and you're like, what is all this? So here we are, everybody thinking Eagly's just a well-trained animal, and come to find out, no, he's like a god, like an animal. He's an animal spirit. He's literally, oh my god, he's Peacemaker's animal spirit. There it is.
So on the front of good sci-fi, I saw Alien.
We're gonna talk about. Let's relax. We are gonna talk about the finale. We weren't on last week. So okay. So Alien Earth. I'm actually very much digging the show.
Yeah. Well, it's not not at all. Still not what I was expecting going into
not in
an
any way, shape, or
Alien
form.
Earth series.
Right.
But it's full of intrigue. It's taken a lot of different paths into the Alien universe. I still have a real problem because now we have like two more.
It absolutely was. It's just like the Joker.
Rifle Joker. Yeah, it actually does. The shotgun.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say now about the alien thing? It's not what I was expecting.
Review your script, man. Review your script.
Brain short circuiting can't.
No, you're good.
Norman.
Because the remote. Because of the remote.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I like what they're doing. I like the fact that it's not just about the alien.
Oh, I'm sorry, ABJ. I'm sorry. Rooker's the best part of Peacemaker. So we've jumped quick ships because Salty didn't really like Peacemaker. I love Peacemakers. If you guys want to talk about it.
If you want to talk about you're talking about Michael Rooker.
Yeah, but
I love Michael Rooker, but
dude elevates everything he's in because he's constantly he just commits. Yeah. He's like whatever this ridiculous.
You know what? All you got to do is say 4 words. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Oh, totally. Totally. No, for real.
Greatest Michael Rooker moment in history.
Yeah, no, we really don't have to talk more about it. It's just a good episode. Yeah. I enjoyed it. I thought it moved the story forward. I'm excited. We're finally getting to the all the exciting bits they sold us in the advertising. The whole we got to go get him back and blah blah all this stuff. So next week. No. The big thing next week is we have to get the reveal of what world that is. We absolutely have to get the reveal. Now I'm done. We can move on to anything else you want to talk about.
Well, but going to Alien, my biggest issue with this episode was that we once again get trained specialist soldiers missing easy shots at the alien just for the sake of plot. And I like the idea that the alien was was kind of secretly besties with Wendy. I'm really intrigued by where they're going with that.
Real quick pause. Hey Stan, if you count the kaiju from the Superman movie in the alternate universe as a big cameo, then yes, there was a big cameo. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You were saying?
Yeah. I was saying I really like the relationship that they're developing between
so much.
Xenomorph and Wendy.
Very. And the thing is, so my big thing is, and someone mentioned this in my comments for my review, are they saying that is Wendy communicating kind of like an animal whisperer, or is she talking to it in a language that she understands? Because there's a difference between being able to communicate like an idea, like come follow me, protect me, attack them, the concepts, and it's a whole other thing to be like, look, listen, I'm trying to tell you something, pay attention, look at me right here, okay, you know what I'm saying? It's a whole different series of and so I'm wondering, which one do you think it is?
You know, I think that the aliens are imprinting on her that she's the queen.
Or maybe somehow that's what she's, but how is she giving that off? Oh,
So that's why I said they better stick the landing with this.
what kind of bad is Kirsch? I need to know. What kind of bad is he?
Man, he is a weird kind of bad because
Right?
why was he helping them? And then I mean, he was literally helping them to get the guy out of the base. But then when evil black robot dude shows up, he's also wants to capture him, even though he was helping them help him accomplish his mission. You know, the timing was a little bit off, and the xenomorph decided to say howdy a little too early.
Well, my whole thing is, but after that whole scenario, and she like you said, like it comes down to her level. And dude, I think that was the moment, by the way, that Hermit decided he was going to start having to do actions against her, because he looks at her and is like, "What is happening here?" Like she's communicating, because he knows what that thing is. He's seen it in its worst. You know, he saw it take out that whole room of pompous people.
Yes, Stan, you can trap the alien after it bursts out. We see that in this episode. So, I think that the xenomorph because I know Phoenix looks like does not like the fact that this is happening. I don't have a problem with it as long as we're talking about androids that can communicate in ways that a normal human can't.
The Disney princessification of xenomorphs is happening.
Yeah.
That was the best. I'm sorry. That was awesome. No, a burger, thanks.
Yeah. And he's not a robot. Ain't he a cyborg? Yes, but I just call him evil black robot because that irks Mr. Know-It-All sometimes.
He's just, yeah, whatever. You talk about Morrow. Morrow's okay.
Yeah. But
Morrow's okay. Part of the thing is, I feel like they've neutered that whole character's because I'm sorry, you're trying to tell me that this guy's position, his plan, after all the dedication he's shown, is that a robot with a synth with the mind of a child will listen to him enough to follow very complicated instructions. Of course, he's going to end up where he's at.
Yeah.
The kid was terrified.
But I really want to know what the eye thing is.
Oh my god, Boy Cavalier sucks, man.
What?
Kid genius.
Yeah.
He sucks. He's all like, ooh, I know, right? The perfect person. Like, he's such an evil. I didn't realize, like, he made such a hard turn to evil genius.
Well, I think he was always evil. It's just
I agree, but
yeah.
He just went full on, like, mustache twirling mad scientist.
Well, now he's just kind of showing it. I think at this point, it's like he's got xenomorphs running loose on his compound. You know, he's got nothing to lose.
Stan, that's a great question, by the way. I don't know.
I
don't know. Yes, he goes, but he helped the kids escape just so he could recapture them, talking about Kirsch and all that.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
To help lure in the enemy team. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying, what kind of bad is this guy? Because on its face, he let the kids get out, knowing full well dude was done. But I think he did it so they could have another one of these things. And I'm like, what is like? Are you guys serious right now?
Yeah,
it's unreal.
And but yeah, he's an interesting character. I think I'm really just digging the series as a whole. I just like I said, if they do not stick the landing though, I'm going to be really, really pissed.
Yeah,
because
my case says the genius part is questionable.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's thinking of crazy stuff, and I don't know, the way they're portraying him is the way it's. I know what you mean. I see what you mean.
Which are you talking about? Kirsch being a genius?
No. I think he means Boy Genius. The
Boy Genius.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about Boy Genius is we've never seen him what he was known to be a genius about. You know, because we just see him sitting around talking about his empire and what he's going to do. So yeah. You think Daniel thinks the flower alien is going to swallow someone? I'd
Oh
say
yeah, totally. I can see that. What is that?
I'd lay even odds on that. But yeah, I don't know. Man, Kirsch is a messed up character. I don't know what his real motivations are at this point, because he's clearly doing things deliberately to undermine evil genius.
Well, but also at the same time, but it's not like he's 100% betraying them to Yutani. I feel like he's somewhere
Right.
dark
Right.
inside.
So he's got his own agenda, and
Right.
I want to know what that agenda is, and I hope they explain that.
That's what's keeping us interested. Like seriously, think about it. That's what's keeping us interested and fascinated by the whole thing.
Well, that and the new alien lore, like I said, I love the eyeball thing. I am absolutely intrigued with. I want to know: does it just possess its victims, or does it actually absorb their knowledge and stuff?
I have a reason to. I believe somehow it takes something, because all it's doing is popping the eye out. It could probably be
Right, but you
connecting
think
to
it's
their
digging
brain.
into the brain somehow, yeah.
Yeah.
Which it would have to, because it's got to get into the cerebral cortex to control your motor functions.
Right. So that's right. See, so now we're getting into that's the stuff that makes Star Trek fan holler.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just love when they get into that kind of like minutia of those kind of characters.
Right, and that's what's cool. So we have the biological stuff with the aliens; it's all new, and we have this period of potential evolution for synths that we know ultimately what's going to happen. And as we go through this, it seems more and more clear why that is, because every other, the cyborg and whatever the heck Kirsch is and the kids are all.
Kirsch is a normal synth.
I think there's something weird about him, though. There's something unique about
I think so too. My question is, who makes them? And my review which is going to come out which came out already. I asked the question, like, are they? Is like Weyland Yutani the ones who invented this style, and everyone gets this model or these models from that company? If that's the case, he could always have some deep dark control, something that's been like, you will fulfill our missions or whatever.
Right.
But still, why is he behaving the way he's like at the very end there? I'm like, what is that about?
Right.
Unless there's a strategic motive to it, in which case we'll see in the next episode.
Right. But there's a couple of possibilities. I mean, he could be actually, Evil Genius Kid could be doing a long con with him. We didn't see the part where he said, okay, so here's the evil plan, So there's a possibility that that's going on there. Somehow, maybe, Kirsch is trying to betray him. Maybe Kirsch is trying to liberate fellow robots. I don't know. But,
So just Raised by Wolves, but less post-apocalyptic. That's awesome. Could be. I mean, everything on some level. I mean, Westworld was the same idea.
Yeah.
There are elements that it shares,
Yeah. So I'm very curious to see where it goes. It's definitely a slow burn, but I like that because I'm fine with them not shoving everything in my face.
Oh, here we go. Penny with the great idea. I agree with you. They should have made an opening movie to explain how they collected all those space creatures without most of the crew being dead. Right? How did they successfully do all that only to now be flummoxed by everything? I've seen 2 reviewers who bash this show who have said their biggest issue is that the show depends on everybody being stupid. And I disagree. I think all too often, the differences between action adventure movies are about watching all the best moments for a hero's ascension. Horror movies are about watching all the craziest moments that eventually lead you to the scares and jump things you want. And inevitably, that means mistakes are happening. That means you're seeing the bad moments in a scenario versus the positive ones. And I think that in that regard, yeah, there's definitely something, but that's a horror thing, and that's this show leading into its horror roots.
Right, and I can't remember the name of the showrunner for this show, but I've seen him in a couple of things where he's talking about the series, and he said this is the episode that actually was on the ship, a couple of weeks ago. or was it last week? No, it was 2 weeks ago. Anyway, that episode, he's like, this is the Alien movie that I wanted to make, and I'm just putting it in this series. So so he likes the fact that in this Alien story, the alien wins.
That's awesome. He said, "Yeah, Stan." Stan says, "Like forgetting to properly close the lid on an alien specimen jar." No kidding. So.
Well, again, now it depends on. I don't remember that particular scene.
Oh, that happened. Yeah, that happened.
No, I know, but I'm trying to remember which. Okay, who did it?
Oh, the black lady on the team back on the Maginot.
Oh, you're talking about this is from the flashback episode. Gotcha.
Yep.
I would say this, and there's a lot of Alien. Okay, so the first Alien movie gets a complete pass because the genius move of that movie is that none of the people in that movie were geniuses, and so and they were just truck drivers.
And you could almost see them brute forcing through their thoughts.
Right. So they're just a bunch of truck drivers. The only one that's got any brains on them is actually the one that's working against them, and Ripley. But Ripley is really has intuitive sense as opposed to being like a professor type person. And then Thomas says, the black lady. Wow, Mr. Know-It-All. Yeah, he is kind of racist, but that's nothing new.
I was describing. There were 3 other women. I couldn't think of anyone else. So there's the doctor, the scientist, but they're all scientists. Choose your descriptor at your own leisure.
How about the strong person of color who gracefully crossed the screen, delivering...
Grow up.
Huh?
Move on. Grow up.
Grow up.
Grow up.
Anyway,
The black lady who was drinking lots of water, and she gave that water, and then she gave that water bottle to the little white kid, and the little white kid drank it and ended up getting sick.
Well, you know what they say. Don't share.
Now, Know-It-All just got insta canceled. That's awesome.
Yeah, you joke about it, but what you don't realize is that the ICE agents, ATF, and FBI are coming up on your house.
My burger was from the wonderful restaurant called My Wife's Kitchen, and she is amazing. She doesn't do the meat. Remember the homemade burger, the meatball one, like Eddie Murphy used to talk about? Not that.
Yeah, the ghetto burger.
Yeah, she makes a great smash burger that's amazing.
Yeah, but the ghetto burger was the ultimate burger.
Dude, yeah, of course. The meatball burger was the best.
Yeah. I can picture that thing, that giant meatball on a couple of pieces of Wonder Bread, where the
Daniel,
and the bread
yes,
is
Noah
all
Hawley made the show.
Yeah.
Noah Hawley made the show. Noah Hawley, he made the show.
Oh yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Noah Hawley, I think, is so far making a really good show. I just hope and pray that the landing sticks.
My thing is, who would have thought that you'd get 2 really unique offerings? Like, I know you're going to hate me, I mentioned this, but like Andor, which for many of the fandom was refreshing and took a different tone.
I know there's
how you feel about the storyline. But then this, which is taking the entire Alien franchise similarly in a different path, and you're like, where did this even come from? I never even saw this angle coming. Right. I love that. I love the fact that if we're going to go to these places, we're finding valid reasons with excellent storytelling that makes it make sense. Right. Nobody questions sequels, requels, prequels, whatever, reboots, or any of that nonsense. If it's good, it's when it's a cash grab and it sucks that we sit here and go, "Yeah, that sucks."
Well, it's like everybody talks about superhero fatigue, and I said there's no such thing. There's just crap fatigue. And the problem is the MCU has struggled for a couple of years, and so now they're in a rebuilding phase. And of course, people want to say, "Oh my gosh, their movies this year only made $500 million each," and it's like, yeah, that's more money than the first wave of Marvel movies made. So they, stop getting all worked up about it. But anyway, But speaking of that, because you're right, we're almost like in a little mini renaissance going on right here, and but you're talking about like the way that they approach the Alien franchise from a different perspective, that they approach the Star Wars franchise from a different perspective, but let's not forget that truly the greatest thing we've seen is how they've approached Star Trek from a different perspective.
Oh my God, I hate you.
With Scouts.
Is that your transition here?
Hey, come on, you know that was brilliant.
It's an excellent segue. No, it was good. It was good. It was good.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, man. So Salty made me watch the first 3 episodes of Scouts. By the way, it took me
what did I tell you before you watched them?
You said you wanted me to watch them all straight through and then give you my opinion about what I saw.
Yeah. And what was? Let's start with this. What was? Now, for those of you that don't understand, there are 3 episodes of this series that are out. An episode of the series, by the way, is only 4 minutes long. Which is plenty of time, and so the unique, different story in each episode is the same story.
Thomas Potts says, "No, Salty. This time Disney's on the verge of bankruptcy. 1 day left.
Yeah, don't give me.
It's like a fire sale. Everything must go."
Yes. Yeah. So each episode of the series is not just similar; it's the same. All they do is change, some kind, the names of things. So
Right.
in each episode, just so you guys, this is the setup for every episode so far. The kids are hanging around doing something stupid. By the way, why there are toddlers with officer ranks and access to Starfleet equipment that can destroy asteroids, I don't know.
It says, "Bruh, we got Star Trek babies before GTA 6."
You sure did. But yeah, so how are these toddlers actually officers in Starfleet? Don't know. They don't.
This is not a kind of show that requires any actual genuine attention to those.
But I'm just saying, they're wearing. It would be like, look, if you saw a show.
Why are you reviewing this seriously? Stop it right now.
Wait.
Review this seriously.
If you saw a show that had some toddlers sitting around wearing army uniforms and carrying M16s, you would probably wonder, how did that happen?
They don't use phasers; they throw things.
Yes, and that's the dumbest thing. Okay, so they're every episode, the kids are hanging around in their asteroid deflection station, and they're doing some random stupid thing. I mean, and each episode that's a little bit different, whatever the stupid random thing they're doing.
Okay, for instance, one of them they're doing a weird kind of game where you're floating and throwing a ball or something at each other. Another one they're trying to break hollow blocks. It's basically holodeck Tetris. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's really not that. It doesn't matter because that has nothing to do with the story. Instead, they
You ready? I got it. Hang on. I got the solution. This is a holodeck program, and these kids that's why it's been set up this way. It's more or less holodeck daycare for these 3 kids. They get to have these adventures, and this is the same 3 adventures they have all the time, and that's why the program is so limited. I have a feeling we're going to find out something eventually, and that's me wanting to add meaning to something that's probably meaningless, but I'm just telling you.
But see, okay, so yeah, they let me and Miss Moneypenny, this show is not made for toddlers. This show is made for nobody.
Oh, stop it! I can't wait to see what my cousins. I have a niece and nephew who have. Are you?
But the thing is like, and I talked to you about this. Blue's Clues is the closest parallel I could find.
What about the ones we talked about, the Spider-Man one, Adventures, or
I've never watched any of those shows, so I don't know I don't know if they literally do the same story every time. I assume they don't. But in Blue's Clues, they did actually, the basic story is the same in each episode. They need to either find something or do something, and Blue knows what it is. And in order to
the same way,
in order to communicate that, we'll play Blue's Clues. However, it feels different in each episode. Same thing with Dora the Explorer. Yes, every episode of Dora the Explorer is for just looking for something.
Right, and eventually Swiper shows up and the whole 9 yards, and there is no real big story plot in there. So I feel like you're right. I feel like this is the same idea, but they've almost simplified it too much. Like they've really boiled it down to its basic elements.
It's like all they did was they took the same script and they said, okay, do a slightly different activity each episode. we randomize whatever the meteor is made from,
Right.
and then we randomize what they throw at the meteor.
And okay, I feel like literally whoever put this together is not even realizing they've really created this lowest common denominator scenario. And
Yeah.
I'm feeling those poor animators were sitting there like, we don't want to get canceled like Prodigy. Like, let's just make the cheapest thing we can make
Yeah.
and just move on and make everybody happy. It's like, really? I say that because it's Nickelodeon. You're like, I don't know.
And I would love to see Moopsy show up and like kill them all. That would be hilarious.
That's too funny. Or eat whatever the thing is.
Oh, the Targ guy.
I will say that they did a really good. That's like the only real big callback they do to stuff like lore related.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
the-
and not the fact that they wear shirts with little Delta shields on them. Other than that, there's nothing. And they do some sound effects that you hear, and
Yep,
a couple
they do.
and little musical cues. But
Right.
for the most part, this show could be titled anything if you just change their costumes.
It's true.
You could just call it Space Babies, and it wouldn't make any difference.
Still
no,
better than the very short
No,
track.
I absolutely disagree with you, Mike. I absolutely disagree with you. I'm not saying the short tracks were all genius, because some of them were good, some of them were bad. If you have a sense of humor, because when Kirk and everybody is completely incompetent and the Enterprise gets blows up, that was funny. It was just, I'm sorry, it was funny. But
Phoenix has a question here: how is it supposed to get toddlers interested in Star Trek when they get older?
that's the thing. I won't.
So the prevailing theory that I've read on several different threads in the internet is the idea is exactly that. Actually, the idea is, as kids, they'll see this imagery, and then they will shift to maybe one of the animated series that have existed, and then eventually have enough interest to want to watch something like maybe Next Gen or something or other, and then eventually get into the other shows and movies and everything that's available. Like, that's the idea. I don't know how you do that though, because I don't know many people who've latched on to anything from their childhood, with the exception of the return of the guy from the original Blue's Clues. His YouTube channel is literally based on nostalgia bait of him,
Right.
and doing a wonderful job, by the way.
Now, I do think Trek Reviewer had a great question a few minutes ago, and that's this.
Oh, jeez. First off, I don't even know what for. I know the original animated
There's the
series.
animated series.
What else?
There's the animated series, Lower Decks, Prodigy, and this.
Okay, Prodigy is kind of okay. Then this and this. Okay, right. All right, fair enough. Oh, then I would, for me,
I got it easy.
I say Lower Decks, Prodigy, the original animated series, and ending with Scouts.
Yeah. So obviously he's an idiot, but that's okay. We'll let him slide. So number one, the animated series. Number
That's
two.
nostalgia. We're not talking quality. Move on.
Number two, well, no, I'm just saying which are better. I'm not thinking. He didn't say which one has the finest, crispest animation. I mean, if you were going to say something,
that's how I judge versus how you judge.
I'm judging based on overall content.
He's like, this had original characters, and I'm like, so did Prodigy.
No. So I would say Lower Decks, or I'm sorry, the animated series, Lower Decks, Prodigy, and then whatever this is. I mean, when everybody was complaining, oh, this isn't Star Trek. No, this isn't Star Trek.
Yeah, absolutely. Because for me, that wasn't the original series was a far like thing I barely knew or understood at the time, and I've never really gotten into it.
And it looks like Phoenix Gundam and I agree 100%. Except that, oh no, and I'm sorry, 90%, because he put TOS.
Yeah, he's just switching the first two,
which I understand. Those two shows are way beyond the kiddie shows.
All I know is Prodigy was not a kiddie show. Prodigy was excellent, and it really connected up to Star Trek lore very well. So I'm just saying, and it had even more all kinds of guest characters that they were able to.
You know what? But that's the thing. So here's how the race goes: is that you have Lower Decks and the animated series neck and neck, right? If you're doing a horse race, and it's like one time around the track. So when they're crossing the finish line, Prodigy is at the halfway point, so it's not even close, right? So Prodigy. Wait.
I had a better story than the animated series.
But
the only thing the animated series was going for it was that it was written by some of the same people and it had the voice actors. The animation sucked, And at the end of the day,
Some of the stories were really deep cut stories written by real authors.
They were like they were super, like they were going straight up sci-fi, because that was not a kid show. That's one of the reasons why when I watched it, it was super dry for me as a kid. I was like, whatever.
Honestly, the truth is, this is the first truly kids Star Trek that there's ever been.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, this thing is this thing is totally.
But the thing is, it is. I mean, it would be literally for infants. It's not even for toddlers. This is just to put shiny, flashy things in front of a kid's face,
right.
Because there's it's so bad.
Phoenix Gundam Prodigy's hardcore, but the first season was kind of slow and a little too Star Warsy at times. That's fair, and I absolutely agree with you. The minute they got left that, and we were like, here, this is Star Trek, I was like, oh, much better. Like, it made more sense.
Yeah.
That plus Kate Mulgrew.
Kate Mulgrew actually did elevate the series. I'll give her that.
She really did. Yeah. And like she really like brought her Janeway-iest, you know, especially when it was actually her like playing Admiral. Unreal. I was like, wow, that's amazing. Like I can, and I was not a fan of her show or her, and I still loved her in Prodigy. It really, for me, was like, oh my god, it's awesome. And then you got the Doctor a couple points, and I was like, oh, this is fun. Okay, and that's how, to me, that's how they married me fast. And I was just like, I was hooked at that point. Dude, I got to see the Zindi again. What are you talking about? Get down off the garbage. Stop trying to be slick. He has a toy that my wife threw
Why
away.
are people listing Deep Space Nine as an animated series?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Do you like Orange is the New Black? I know she was in that. She was great in that. Except for that really bad, like her accent was as bad as Yelena's from which I like Yelena's bad accent. To me, it's very Chekhov. Like I accept it because I'm like, this is fun.
So to me, no other. Yeah, they did say early on that Prodigy was considered canonical Trek. But the thing is that
time.
That's the thing. It takes place when after Admiral Janeway has been in her position for quite some time, so it's probably not far away from when Picard takes place.
By the way, this is called good parenting. But so the one thing we mentioned when Salty said something similar, he's like, well, I didn't need a kid show to be into Star Trek. Yeah, but then and last week we talked a little bit about this, that you had very few choices either back in the day, and it's so. I mean, it's hard to say, like, because that, again, you're just good parenting. But same thing with my father and his mother. His mother sat him down watching Star Trek when he was a young kid, so he's into it. So if that's what you do, if you raise them up right, all I'm saying, Gene Roddenberry will make sure they don't veer away.
Right, and I'll tell you, watching the original animated series, where you watch the crew investigating like these bizarre high concept ideas that we have on this show. I compare that to a group of kids deciding which of these 4 items would be best to decimate a meatball.
Oh yeah, no, this is definitely the dumbest of the dumb. I'm not saying it's not. This is so dumb, it's ridiculous.
And Stanley, Star Trek Scouts it's coming to Nick Jr., but the first 3 episodes have premiered on YouTube, and they did say that all the episodes would be on the YouTube channel.
We can actually pinpoint where. I'm sorry, Me No Other asked Prodigy is then right before Supernova. So I think it's actually we can pinpoint it based on one event at the very end of Prodigy. Apparently the android uprising on Mars happens.
Okay, so then it is definitely
Picard says that took place. That's
I
the
would
year
say that it's post. Yeah, it's post Romulus or post Supernova.
Right. So whenever the android uprising happens in Picard, they'll give you a year for it. That's the year Prodigy takes place in.
So Prodigy is the closest thing we got to a good modern Star Trek show in the next gen era.
Yeah, I guess I'll go with that. Okay, you know what? Because of the tie-in comic, I'm going to tell you yes. The Kelvin movie should be watched after Prodigy. It's Spock's whole story and whatnot, because they come up with a ship. Actually, it should be before that, because it's a result because the explosion happens early. So if the thing happens, if that other event happened, I'm getting confused. But you see what I'm saying? This is like Salty talking about.
I would say that the Kelvin movie should be watched never.
No. I know. No. But let's play the canon game.
Right.
Let's give everything its due and say it is what it is. Then, based on the comic book tie-in, they were Spock and them were just like he talks about. They were planning this thing. It failed. The supernova happened early. He got in the ship. He went back in time. Now we get
Right.
we get the Kelvin verse. So that happens.
That happens before Prodigy.
Correct. Which actually would lend itself to dual timeline concepts because it didn't change the universe. They continued on their path to eventually become that.
So there are at least, and that's the thing. Until they
now we got real sweaty. We're talking timelines. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's Thomas's favorite topic.
This gets good.
Yeah, let's talk about that triple timeline. So I mean, because if you look at it, we know of several timelines that are canonical that we know exist. So one of which, of course, is the one where the Federation never really forms, and they're at war with the Romulans, and the Romulans send agents back in time to try and mess up history.
Alex, you're not wrong. I think that's actually very astute. He says maybe they're realizing that they're not creating new fans and overcompensating with kid shows. So I guarantee you, there's been a meeting where a bunch of idiot execs who don't know how to actually understand information sit here and go, "I don't know what's going on. We're losing all fans. What could that possibly be about?" And Alex Kurtzman's like, "I don't know. I guess they're all misogynists and whatever else." And next thing you know, someone's like, "Well, what if we got the kids involved?" And they were like, "Sure, make a kids cartoon. That sounds good." So yeah, like they're just shotgunning anything, trying to make something stick. Section 31 was a part of that. This Starfleet Academy that they've in my opinion, committed to. I do not. We'll see how that lands. Is part of that. That's one of the. This is why we're not getting Legacy, and this is why we may very well not end up getting that Star Trek Year One nonsense.
I think that this is. I think right now it's a good example of what went wrong with Marvel, is going on with Paramount right now on a smaller scale.
I think you're absolutely right. Go ahead, tell it.
Yeah, well, because they're just scattershotting all the content out there that they can, in order to try and garner their views. They're basically treating it like it's a YouTube channel, and that's not going to serve for any long-term growth.
We just talked about this too. You're right, but a lot of us, we either had parents who raised us in it, or we had people who we had very little options because they got involved in the early days. And what else did you have to watch as a kid?
Or you're like me and you're like Gen 1 Star Trek fan.
That's what I'm saying. Like people are like we wanted something new and unique and storytelling wise. Not everybody's like.
How did kids become fans of Knight Rider? They didn't have an animated card.
But they also had limited options. Today, every kid has TikTok, YouTube, everything else. And if you're not willing to go to their communication method or their place, all you're going to be stuck in is an echo chamber of all of us getting older going, "I remember the original Star Trek," and that's it.
Hey, I do remember the original Star Trek.
I know you do. So it's like, what do you do? Where do you go from here? I'm not saying it's right, by the way. I'm not saying I agree with it, but what are our options?
Well, and the thing is, I think that
I don't believe a President Archer show is the answer.
No, I think Admiral Archer should be the answer more than President. But
we need a good old-fashioned Star Trek show.
They do.
In today's font. Yes, they do. But they got to stop messing with it like they did this last season.
Well, I would say,
you know what? That's the segue. Let's talk about the season finale of Strange New Worlds.
But I do want to. Well, let me adjust what Mino Other was saying about that. They're trying to wait out Kurtzman. Not exactly. I'll say this. Kurtzman.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, it's not so much Kurtzman as Secret Hideout, but because it seems pretty clear that from what the little things that we've heard, that since they have a deadline to get things produced and all this other stuff, I think that the people at Skydance are like, yeah, we're going to get rid of Secret Hideout. That's just going to happen.
Phoenix says, "Know it all. I lived through the '80s. Every show had a cartoon spinoff and didn't grow my end of any of them."
Yeah. If anything, it made you stop watching.
What are you talking about? I watched the cartoon Punky Brewster with their magic shoes and everything, because everybody had a magic creature back then. Oh yeah, I watched all that nonsense. I was always there for the cartoon spinoffs.
But I think that
Oh my God, me no either. I mean no other. I absolutely agree with this. In a year or two, Star Trek will be generated by fans on streaming sites. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree with this. I think that we're going to move towards. If someone's going to crack the code, and either A, we'll just get generated characters in that universe, and they'll license the likenesses of existing characters so that we can interact with those, or allow us to in our stories interact with them. But we'll get our own. We'll be able to put ourselves into our own things and see anything we want in any style we want. Oh, you want a classic Trek style? Cool, here. You want Strange New World style? Cool, here. I definitely see that coming.
Yeah, but I don't want AI generated content.
Everybody says that until they have it. So really, hold on. Shall I go back to look? Can we go to Salty Plus and take a look again at the last however many months?
What?
Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm not saying AI is all bad. What I'm saying is I don't want because you notice like all the stupid silly songs I've done, I wrote them. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't go to ChatGPT and say
But
write me
hold
a
on.
silly song.
But you did say here, arrange and perform this.
That's
And
because
that
I
was
don't.
AI.
That's where that. Well, I know, but that kind of you know what.
Oh my God,
I,
Hulk Hogan did. Check reviewer. Hulk Hogan did. It was called Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling. I love that show. It played right after. Oh my God, what's the music? Kid Video.
Don't forget Mr. T, man. That was a great show.
Mr. T, bro. Oh my God, Mr. T. That's
Don't do
yes, I love
drugs.
so much. Oh my God, that's so much.
Remember, kids, stay in school.
That's awesome.
So yeah, the
Okay, so can we talk about the show now? Finally,
sure.
let's talk about Strange New Worlds, man. This finale. So we don't get Tuvix Batali, or do we?
We
Self-
had two Vix Batali the whole time. We just didn't know.
Right? I'm
Yeah.
like, what? Sorry, talk. Get out of here, man.
So they were in a space Italian restaurant, had no clue. But not only that, they double two Vixed her because she was like at least four different species, and they did it subtly. She just didn't know it.
So when her eyes went a weird color, I was like, oh my God, she's gonna turn into the Gorn. And then somebody reminded me later that Charlie, what's his face, also had the goofy eyes. So
Yeah.
it's probably just a connection to whatever. Here's my question, and this is a lore question for you, and you're gonna have to do what all Star Trek fans have ever done. We just have to sort of play it by ear and say, is this?
Yeah.
Was that them saying that power, that Charlie whatever power, when you tapped into that level of like consciousness, this is what you're kind of like, because she was mirroring that thing, or what? What do you think?
I don't know because I don't think that she was that powerful. I mean, she was able to withstand
She
the.
was able to manipulate time for short period and give him the memory of a lifetime lived with her.
Okay, so I could say maybe she tapped into
Robert.
whatever the.
I said
What?
Robert said hi. Robert said I was saying hi to Robert because he's just
Oh, okay.
he's just joining.
So yeah, maybe.
I was waiting for this. Phoenix, we got the ultimate Tuvix Battalion, the Omega Tuvix, a Tuvix to surpass Metal Gear. That's awesome. That's the best. Oh my God, I love it. Go ahead.
It's 100% true though, but yeah, I wouldn't compare him to Charlie X as much as Gary Mitchell.
Trek reviewer asks, I wonder if these bad people created Armis.
Oh, I hate
Don't
him.
give these writers at Strange New Worlds more ideas. They'll come up with all kinds of bad stuff.
See, Lower Decks needs to come back and do all this stuff.
Yes, by the way, yeah, Charlie X, yes, but yes, exactly. That's what I was.
But I was thinking of Gary Mitchell, not Charlie, because Gary had godlike power. Charlie, we know the source of Charlie's power,
Yes.
and it was just a group of powerful aliens gave him power to survive. So I would say the Gary Mitchell, whatever the energy field that Gary's mind tapped into, maybe Tuvix Patel was also a part of. So I could see that.
Yes, I did. I caught that also. I did catch. Yes, I
Yeah.
did.
So
I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah. And so does that mean that what we saw in this episode was the proto Q?
Ooh, I don't know. It's a good question. Could this? Well, it can't be because we just got Proto Q.
No, well, Trelane is a young Q, but he's a Q.
But they can be from different time. You're right.
Yeah, that's the
So
thing. They
are we
don't.
starting
Yeah,
with
they don't do
this
things sequentially.
chronologically? Is this the birth potentially proto Q, like you said?
Right.
Are we
These
talking about
people
the
will
Bethesda
evolve into
species
Q.
that made- the species that made the little glowy bubble things and made the prison thing?
Yeah.
Those people?
Yeah.
The Vesda?
Because
That's a great question. The Vesda could very well have been. No, I hear right, Alex. They are. Yes. So we'll see. I don't know. You guys have some credibility left, and/or do you recommend Strange New Worlds to a DS9 a nostalgic TOS fan, a pro Kirk misogynist?
well, do you recommend?
Uh,
Well, you know
yeah.
what? I'm a, and I know you and I disagree all the time, Alex, but I am a
What? It's
hardcore.
news to me.
Shut up. I am a hardcore TOS fan, right? And I
Yes.
mean, and I really love DS9 for some of the same reasons I love TOS. I think DS9 is the most consistent with TOS Trek that there is outside of TOS. All that being said, Strange New Worlds, yeah, I think it's TOS done in a modern, in a modern basic, like I said, palette.
Mhm.
And it does feel more like classic Trek. Yes, they need sci-fi writers. That is a problem, but it's not a problem that I can't overcome watching it.
I'll go with that. So you seem to think the Q around forever. No, I don't think the Q have been around forever. I think so. It feels more and more from what we've been able to glean from what they've shown us that
The
there
Q
was an evolution.
evolved.
There's an evolution from the time what we've seen and the parts we've seen. Then there has to have been something before that, which is less and less and less and less, until eventually they were some form of being like us.
And I would even go so far to say, okay, so then what do the Q evolve into? And is that where we got the Organians?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Pelia, the aliens Aravik that Pelia was talking about were not the people who created, not the Vesda. It was the other creatures, the evil creatures that they had captured, the
And
ones that came
Alex with us
from.
put a
Yeah.
super chat in. I don't know in which to whom it went, but thank you to. All right, well, thank you, Alex. Because I'm a hardcore TOS fan too, in a nostalgic way. Yeah, I totally get it. I would say that you're going to feel more at home with Strange New Worlds than any other new Trek.
There it is. Yeah,
Oh, wouldn't you
agreed.
agree with that? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with
So
that.
yeah, so if you want Trek like the original series, it doesn't. In modern times, it doesn't get closer to Strange New Worlds. They still have ways they can go with it. Like if I think Star Wars or Star Wars, Star Trek Year One, if that actually gets made or something like that.
So while we're on that, real fast,
Yeah.
he did just confirm. They did just confirm in a recent interview. The intent is at the end of season 5, we're going to get to Kirk's first day, and we will see Kirk's first day as captain of the Enterprise. That's where the show is literally going to end right there.
And then we would go to Star Trek Year One, assuming that becomes a thing.
Right.
And so Stanley's talking about a Jeopardy clip. Do you know what he's talking about?
Oh yeah, the Jeopardy was playing some clips from Strange New Worlds. Strange New Worlds was one of the like 4 or 5 of the questions in a row about sci-fi and stuff. One was about Rebecca Romaine. One was about the actual show itself. And
That's cool.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
But yeah, I would say let's see. The main complaint from Computing Forever is the ensigns being disrespectful to Spock. I'm not sure what ensigns they mean. Mostly the lieutenants and the commander and everybody. People give Spock a little bit of razzing, but they did that in the original series too. McCoy was famous for giving Spock a hard time on everything.
Stan's right, by the way. He goes. He said it was a question about Star Trek: Strange New World. None of the contestants had any idea the show existed. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, all that
We're all quiet, like I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, that's the thing. Really piss poor marketing on the part of Paramount, and the fact that it should be on it should be on the network. It should not be hiding behind a paywall.
Aravik, yes, absolutely. Well, it's not. See, but the thing is, it's not even about paywalls anymore. This is just how. This is the new model. There's nowhere. The problem is, no one sees it if it goes to network.
Most of the biggest shows are still broadcast shows.
Yes, because historically they've been. But if you look they're very much having expansive universes and making sure that people can know that their product is
Yes,
viewable.
but you see, the thing for me, they're coming out on a regular schedule, and they're coming out 20+ episodes a year.
You know what
So
else is happening all the time that you don't pay much attention to because you don't exist in that world, and that's safe. It's fair. A lot more infomercials. Remember when infomercials started?
yeah.
How long I'm waiting to start finding out that networks are shutting down at a certain hour now because nobody's watching. When you have, do you know why? Forget anything about Jimmy Kimmel, whether he's good or not, or the whole thing, and then for the situation. Do you know ultimately what was happening? He went from having 1 million an average households to 124,000. That is not. I do not believe that is a result of him being a bad whatever. That's not about him. What I'm talking about is network television is nosediving. It is nosediving, and everyone's scrambling to try to figure out
Right.
how to handle that and how essentially where they have to shift to where the eyes are. That's really all they're going to do. They're shifting the model to whatever these streaming conglomerations
But
are becoming.
but you know what? I still think Star Trek should. You can put it on Paramount Plus, but put it on the network as well. It should be. I mean, think about this.
I
They
agree
are.
with you on that.
We are 3 seasons deep into the show, and they are strictly adhering to the 1 hour time format. Why?
Because honestly, budgets were originally created in that style, and so it's easier to guesstimate or estimate out initially an hour long than it is to suddenly start going
Yeah,
bigger.
but
Because when you start going bigger, you get into a different class of budget. It's all about how the guilds have broken it down. Trust me, I know a lot about this particular topic.
well,
It's
but aren't
horrible.
streaming shows on a different scale than?
Only in as much as they're giving higher budgets and they have less restrictions on content. The restriction on content is really just
No, but I mean,
community.
like from the union perspective, is
Sure.
the pace
So
is the
yes and
pay
no.
scale?
Not after this most recent round of
Yeah, I
strikes.
honestly I don't know anything about where they're at as far as contracts right now, but I'm not a union man, obviously. Um, but I think the problem is that the networks have decided that they where to fight their battle, and they picked the wrong place.
Agreed.
Because they should, if the networks were continuing to put out truly quality product, then people would still turn on the TV.
Well, the thing is, you got to remember also when you have programming like what was originally TiVo that began the watch it whenever you want, then you had Netflix come in and reinforce the hey at your disposal, and then all the streaming services with their, Amazon Prime with its now you own the thing and Apple TV and blah 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 blah.
Right.
Until now, they've essentially molded all of us into well, we can go look for the thing elsewhere. I was one of the earliest cord cutters. I watched The Flash the next day on the CW website because I had a projector, and I would plug my computer in and watch it. So they've been programming us for a while to shift to this new thing, and you can see it in everything.
But yeah, I think Star Trek could benefit from being produced like a classic TV show.
There you
I
go,
think.
Robert's right. I remember the days when network TV ended the programming at a certain time of night. Same.
Yep.
Generally, you got the American flag with some music and an announcement saying the network was ending their daily broadcast. Yep, and it would. A few hours later, it would come back, and you'd get. That's when you get.
Now,
the
some networks did just broadcast the test pattern all night long, and that just kind of depends on how many hours they're going to be off, as to whether it would be cost effective to shut the equipment down and turn it back on.
Alex Bogey gave $1.99. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Alex.
When the millennium began.
I don't know that HBO did it. I mean, HBO helped because they were the first major premium channel.
So but also they were the first when you think about it. They were the first to say we're going to create another platform, HBO Max. It's HBO Now, I think. HBO Now or HBO Go. And as long as you had a subscription,
Currently, I think it's just called Max now. Actually,
well, back then it was the different. They shifted a couple times,
Yeah.
and then the original version, the idea was if you have a paid subscription, you can now watch your show, and it'll be available after it airs properly. It'll be available immediately for you on the app or whatever.
right.
And that's how I actually watched all of Game of Thrones that way on an iPad, because when I first moved up here to Georgia, I didn't have all the stuff, whatever. So yeah, man, it's a whole different world, but. Yeah, I remember like he's right. So HBO did establish some things, even though they weren't like the perfecters of it. I think Netflix has a lot to
I think
takes a lot
Netflix really
modern
is.
era.
I think if you're going to blame any one company for the end of television, it'll
Yeah.
probably be Netflix. Disney is obviously helping because the Disney Plus, say what you want about the Disney Plus, it's still a big juggernaut of a streaming site.
Stanley says Strange New World is made for streaming, but they still have the to black a few times per episode where a TV commercial would have been. So you're right, but that's also part of the language of Star Trek. By that I mean they've always established they wanted the show first to be able to be put on network if they wanted to. So they had to build in those breaks. But also, if you remember, part of the language of Star Trek has always been that cliffhanger before the commercial. So they still, as part of the narrative understanding of how the shows work, they still build those in,
Right.
and that's what makes all of us start to feel like, oh, well, this might be blah blah blah. And you know what I mean? Whether we feel handled by it, and that's fine. That's what I don't.
Yeah, it's basically because in the modern language, is a lot of it is how you end each episode in a serialized streaming story, because each episode has to end with some big moment where you're like, what? And then it cuts to black and you're like, oh, got to go watch the next episode. But it's the
You're
same
right.
thing. It's just on a shorter thing where you get that
And we
dopamine
talked
hit.
about Sopranos and Game of Thrones all had different length episodes. They did, but it was always within reason. Like if
Right,
you had
but
if the
and-
story
and they-
mandated it, you might have a 90-minute episode because they didn't want to have a two-parter.
But
or
I'm
something.
saying if you're not planning on airing it on TV, then the hell with regulated episode lengths. The only reason you have the regulated episode length is so that you can fit commercial breaks and have your regular schedule.
So yes and no. That may have started out being it, but part of the problem is now their actual pay structure is based in that. The guild had, if you're not going to adhere to a standard 30-minute hour, which is an hour's 44 minutes, so if you're not going to stand to a 28-minute to 44-minute time where you can actually be billed, because you build accordingly. It's not billed by hour. It's I'm a
Right.
star, blah blah blah, doing a show that has so many episodes that are going to range to about this long to that long. The
And
minute you
most of the time you're
that's
paid per episode.
correct, and the minute you leave that space and start getting into slightly longer runtimes that aren't special episodes, which are considered special, I believe they have a cutoff of just shy of 90 minutes, because once you cross that threshold, you're a movie or you're a short film, and at that point, the budget itself gets bumped up by an actual major increment. Boy, this is getting really. I apologize. We're getting in the weeds in some of this
No,
stuff.
but I think it's interesting, but at the same time, I think it's very frustrating because the Screen Actors Guild trying to make sure that people get paid a reasonable amount, I'm all for. But the fact that we have to now argue about the minutia of whether or not it's a 30-minute show, a 60-minute show, or whatever, I say let the networks make an offer for a salary, and if the people can accept it or reject it.
Well, Phoenix says back to the finale. So being a Tuvix gives you genetic memory to fight ultimate evil.
Yes, it does.
It absolutely does.
If Janeway hadn't have murdered Tuvix would have told them the ultimate way home
Right.
because he had that information.
Exactly.
So
These shows are more like miniseries, like the V series. Yeah.
I
So
agree.
we've definitely adopted that, like what used to be more of a European style of storytelling. In Britain and the BBC, they would do everything's a series. A full series is whatever it is, and then if you get a continuation, it's never expected for there to be a season 2. As in, like the full story is comprised, and they usually have shorter episodes, or not shorter runs, but they always had a slightly higher production value for them. And so now we're, go ahead.
and me no other. Yeah, V was great
I love
for
that
its
series.
format, but Star Trek shouldn't be in that format. I mean, it should not be a miniseries. Also, is there a Tuvix timeline, Stanley? Yes, in the Tuvix timeline, Janeway doesn't murder Tuvix, and Tuvix then not only shows him how to make an artificial wormhole to get home, but is then immediately elected as president of the Federation, and a new era of peace and prosperity throughout the galaxy then ensues.
That's right.
And yes, so that's the official Tuvix timeline.
That's right. And that other timeline, eventually there's this order of monks that rises up because they learn the power of the control things with their mind. And it just becomes it crosses over into a whole nother thing.
And don't forget, Doctor Who is now canon.
Oh my god, the greatest ever! I love that so much. Did you
Yes.
know there's actually a freeze frame? Like it was actually they actually had the VFX people put it in the thing.
No, they do. They put what in?
The TARDIS is in a scene. There's this one scene with wreckage in it,
Yeah.
and they totally did it. Yeah, it's crazy. Alex Bogey gave $4.99. Since you mentioned Voyager, I remember the Jay Leno joke that the ship returned to Earth only to find out that everyone was watching reality shows. That's awesome. That's good stuff.
He can't say that now. He'll get fired.
It's right. No, Jay Leno's not even there anymore. What are you talking about?
I know.
Leno.
You know what Jay Leno's doing right now? He's sitting in his shop with all his cars, looking at the news and going,
Tuvixes can regenerate because they are the early precursor to Time Lords.
No, well, Tuvix, notice that Tuvix looks an awful lot like the progenitors.
Right, there you go.
And so Tuvix is actually the first progenitor.
Star Trek reviewer says, I'm surprised Secret Hideout has not tried Star Trek Happy Days or Laverne and Shirley yet.
That would...
You
know, the stupid thing about this is that if they got a couple of people that know a little bit about storytelling and a lot about the Star Trek universe, they could do so much. Like if they hired us right now to just do, like I'll just just to be the showrunners. We'll break down the stories for them and then hand it to them to write. And then
Alex, I will give you a platform for this, sir. Preach to the rafters. I agree. Go on.
Well, so the Fran Drescher can still feel important.
Kidding.
Although she was good in Spinal Tap. But yeah.
Spinal Tap 2.
Yes. The double tap. But yeah, it's a sad state of affairs, really, because the Union has so much power.
By the way, I think still it's fun.
Yeah, yeah. But the TARDIS is just an Easter egg. Yeah, well, technically true. But at the same time, it's a fun one, especially since now it's one thing to say it's an Easter egg. It's another if it's a line of dialogue.
Stan, that's actually something Johnny Carson was saying for a long time too. These guys realized their job was specific. So it's the older generation knew this stuff.
Oh,
and I think
tap water. Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. So okay, I got to tell you about this. So in Spinal Tap 2, you remember the Stonehenge monument from the first Spinal Tap, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Imagine a glass version of that with a cap on top and filled with like glacier water, and it's called tap water. And that's in Spinal Tap 2.
I love it.
Yeah. And Alex with yet another $1.99. Thank you, Alex. Working towards my retirement there. Says, tell me a believable Kirk Rand romance story.
I don't know if I want that. Do you want?
You know
that?
what? No, there was no actually.
Oh, no. Would they do Kirk like they did Spock? Like they'd spend the first 2 seasons with him in some weird relationship with Rand, where she's an empowered woman.
No, she's going to be in a relation. Kirk will be in a relationship with Uhura, but then they're going to decide they need to break up, because reasons. No, but the funny thing is, if you look at Kirk, and you know this, Alex, if you look at Kirk through the original series, he was never, ever interested in Rand. Rand was interested in Kirk.
I mean, if it's everybody was interested in Kirk, what are you talking about?
Well, no, but you know what? She even said it in one episode. Oh, I'm always trying to get you to look at my legs, that kind of thing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. But Kirk was, to Kirk, the love of his life was the USS Enterprise. And so he wasn't looking for a real romance. He fell into real romance in a couple of episodes, but he was never looking for it, and I don't think there is, because Kirk was always like, in fact, I remember when they first introduced Rand, Kirk was like, if I could meet the, idiot that gave me a female yeoman, and like, he doesn't want the distraction.
I know, but I mean, I absolutely know. I love those. I've got the TNG Doctor Who crossovers. IDW did them. They're great.
Well, and the thing is, like, even though those aren't canon, Pelias line is.
What I love is her line is. What I do love is the sixth Doctor is the one who's from the '60s, was actually in that the old series TOS, and then
Okay.
they had Matt Smith in the Next Generation, and I was like, okay, that's fun. That's fine. At least they like. I feel like in some way, like the eras were closer together. At least.
I just think it would be cool to have a genuine Doctor Who crossover in Strange New World season 4.
Oh, I absolutely do too. And I think
Yeah.
for me, it would be the Matt Smith Doctor. It should be.
Yeah. But you know, the cool thing is you could bring in any or all of them.
Sure. You
Yeah.
can do all kinds of cool stuff.
So, you know, as long
Oh
as
my God! What if he repairs everything, gives us our normal timeline back?
Oh, that could be.
He's like, this is what the problem is. This thing's all
Or
messed
what
up."
if Doctor Who shows up and those time cops from the 24th or whatever century, you know,
Yeah.
or no, the 26th, I don't know, whatever century they're from.
No, totally.
They show up because they're trying to take down Doctor Who. Because they say, you know, this guy keeps jumping from place to place in the timeline and screwing everything up. And so they're trying to corner him. They're trying to recruit the Enterprise to help capture a dangerous fugitive. But then Doctor Who appeals to a higher authority than Starfleet because
Yeah.
and so I think that could actually be really interesting. And then Doctor Who, and okay, so you really want to get some nerdgasms going on, and another $4.99 from Mr. Bogey says at some
All right, I was
point.
putting it.
I'm
Up
sorry.
also.
At some point, Kirk would realize the ship could never replace an actual woman. Boss secretary relationships were common. They understand each other. I don't think that would have happened.
Totally.
I think if Kirk had truly gotten lonely like that, I don't think that he would think it's appropriate for him to get it on with his direct subordinate. Like the funny thing is, like he flirted pretty heavily with Helen Noel,
True.
but she was not his direct subordinate.
Phoenix points out both Star Trek and Doctor Who have had time wars in some distant future point.
Yes. What if it's the same thing?
Totally legit.
You know.
I feel like that's
how
totally
does
legit one.
And you want to talk about something that would actually be a problem-solving kind of episode, unlike what we've seen before. A Dalek shows up,
Bro.
and say the
amazing.
Dalek starts wrecking its way through Klingon territory or whatever, and they're like, "How do we stop this thing?" And the Doctor shows up, and the Doctor's like, "That's a Dalek. You can't stop it." You know, and so they try to go through the whole thing with that.
That'd be incredible.
And so,
That'd be incredible.
yeah,
I was
and then
thinking about-
eventually the Dalek sees Captain Pike's hair and surrenders.
I hate you so much.
Alex thinks Kirk should be recast. I respectfully disagree. I like this guy.
I like him.
He's not an imitation of William Shatner, and I don't want. There is only one Shat. All right. When William Shatner passed away, I mean he's 93 years old, so it ain't going to be long. But when William Shatner passes away, I will cry that day. I will absolutely cry that day. Even though I never,
Dude,
well,
the
I haven't
guy's
met
an
him.
institution, though, man.
Yeah.
The thing is, he's still going.
Yeah, but with Shatner, but I don't want someone else to imitate him. I want them to pay homage to the character that he created. So look at what are Kirk's motivations, what are the things that drive him, and all that, and embody that in your own way. That's what I think Wesley is doing.
Agreed.
And so I really like that. I like that we're seeing the beginnings of some of those things that will make Kirk. Right down to the fact that the first thing he thought of when they destroyed that weird Skeletor ship was to try to rescue the people that were just trying to kill him.
Yeah.
And he really wanted to do it, but the transporters were down. That's Kirk. And so it doesn't have to be William Shatner talking like this all the time. It's still Kirk,
Agreed. No, I agree.
Oh, and Shatner turned 94. I don't know what his birthday is, so my apologies, Mr. Shatner, who we know is a big friend of the show.
Huge friend of the show.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. It's scary how much you watch. By the way, speaking of huge fans of the show,
Lord.
I was, as you know, at the convention that you and I met at, I spent a good deal of time talking to Ethan Peck, and which I really, really enjoyed.
Good buddy. Your good buddy Ethan Peck?
Yeah, my good buddy, I call him Edie.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That is awesome.
So Ethan and I and my wife were talking because we didn't stick around. Like, you were watching the whole floor show with
Yeah.
with the people talking.
Yeah.
We were really done when they started just, yanking each other's lady penises over the fact that they were so LGBT inclusive. And
Oh yeah, totally. No, yeah, I do.
and so we were like, okay, I'm done. Let's just look at the merchandise. And so we got up and left while everybody else. And I'm sure what was to come was great. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should skip the floor show, but we left while they were setting up the booths. And so Ethan and us we got like a good half an hour just chit chatting because nobody even knew he was on the floor yet.
Ethan. No,
Yeah.
totally.
And but one of the things we talked about was I said, because Ethan is one of the he really felt like he's so excited just to be there. He's excited to be a part of this everything. And with another $4.99, Alex, you're my best friend today. Says what's the only reason there was no Kirk Rand relationship was because Roddenberry caused actors to quit. No, Roddenberry fired her ass, and it was jacked up.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Noelle's story was meant for Rand, obviously. I don't know if Noelle's story was meant for anybody. I just know that, I think Kirk was more of a professional than to go for Rand. That's my opinion. I can
agree with
see,
that.
yeah, I can see how you could write a story about it, but I think Kirk is too much of a professional to actually bone his personal servant.
I don't know. I think servant is the wrong usage of words.
Well, she's a subordinate to him. She has to follow his orders, right?
Sure.
If
She
he
had
says,
a
"Take that-"
range.
if he says take that phaser and shoot that Gorn, she better shoot that Gorn. If he says, let's see what your space are underneath that uniform. Yes. Shut up. I will say yes.
And you just sat in the corner. You just sat in the corner.
No. I was sitting. Because those of you that don't know, I have a little electric wheelchair that I use because I can't walk around very well, and so I made sure my chair was in between my wife and Ethan.
That's right. That's right.
They never got that close to each other. So no matter how much he tried, I'd be blocking him with the chair.
No, for real.
So talking to Ethan, I said, are you ready for what you've unleashed here? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I said, well, you really do feel like you're trying to embody the character of Spock. And if that sticks, this is going to be you from now until the day you die. You will be Spock. There is no backing out of that. And I said, and you know what? I hope that after Strange New Worlds is over, there's another series where you and Wesley and stuff get to continue doing the original series with you as Spock. And he says, you know what? I would really be down for that. That would be cool. And he says that, he really appreciates the way the fans have been, and he wants to do it as long as we'll let him. Now, that was our conversation. What was it, last year or at the beginning of this year?
Yeah, last year.
Okay. So that was our conversation last year. A week ago, he has an interview with Variety or something, and in that interview, he was talking about how much he would love to continue to be Spock, and do the new show. That he wasn't saying things like that a year ago. That's all me. Thanks, Ethan. Ethan watches the show too, by the way. So thank you, Ethan. But I just want to take credit for if
Good fans of the show.
If Spock ever,
Zachary Quinto, by the way, me no other. His name is Zachary.
Zachary Quinto. Let me tell you something about Zachary Quinto.
Look at me no other asks. Do people remember?
No, I'm going to talk about some Zachary Quinto right here.